May 9th, 2022, 3:47 a.m., Seoul time. In a luxury penthouse overlooking the Han River, a 30-year-old man sits alone in darkness, staring at numbers that refuse to make sense. Just 72 hours ago, he was worth $4 billion. Now, his empire is collapsing in real time, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing, he can do to stop it. His name is Do Kwon, and in the next 3 days, he will orchestrate the most spectacular financial collapse in modern history. $60 billion gone, not lost to war, not stolen by banks, simply erased, as if it never existed. Millions of families destroyed, retirement funds evaporated, dreams shattered, suicides reported across 3 continents, all because of one man's promise that money could grow on trees. This is not just the story of cryptocurrency's darkest hour. This is the story of how brilliant minds can create beautiful lies, and how those lies can destroy everything they touch. This is the rise and fall of Terra Luna, Seoul, South Korea, 1991. Do Kwon enters the world during one of the most transformative periods in Korean history. The country is experiencing its economic miracle. Skyscrapers reaching toward heaven, technology companies sprouting like flowers after rain. But young Do Kwon, he's different. While other children play video games, he's writing code. While they dream of becoming soccer players, he's dreaming of something bigger. His teachers describe him as brilliant but unsettling. He doesn't just want to understand systems. He wants to control them, to bend them to his will. Stanford University, 2015. Computer science. Picture this. A lecture hall filled with the brightest minds in the world. Future Google engineers, future Facebook developers. And in the back row, a Korean student taking notes. Not about the lesson, but about his classmates. Studying them, learning how they think, how they dream, how they trust. Because Do Kwon has already figured out something his professors haven't taught. The most powerful technology isn't code, it's psychology. His thesis project, a decentralized music platform, ambitious, innovative, and it fails spectacularly. But failure doesn't break Do Kwon. It teaches him. He watches investors lose money on his project, and instead of feeling guilt, he feels fascination. How easy it was to make them believe, how simple it was to take their money. And that's when the idea begins to form. Not for a music platform, not for a social network, but for something much more elegant, much more profitable. What if you could create money out of nothing? Seoul, 2018. Terraform Labs is born. In a small office overlooking Gangnam District, Do Kwon gathers a team of brilliant developers, but he's not hiring them to build software. He's hiring them to build a religion, the religion of Terra Luna. What if, he tells them, we could create a cryptocurrency that never loses value? What if we could guarantee profits? What if we could eliminate risk forever? His team stares at him like he's speaking about magic. Because, in a way, he is. The concept is elegant in its simplicity. Terra, a stablecoin always worth exactly $1. Luna, its sister token that maintains the balance. When Terra goes up, Luna gets burned. When Terra goes down, more Luna gets created. It's like a digital ecosystem that regulates itself, a financial perpetual motion machine. But Kwon doesn't stop there. He creates something called the Anchor Protocol, a savings platform that promises 20% annual returns, 20% guaranteed. Let me put this in perspective for you. Your bank gives you 1%. The stock market averages 10%. Do Kwon is promising double that with zero risk. His developers raise concerns. The math doesn't work, they whisper. You can't pay 20% forever. Kwon's response is chilling in its confidence. We're not paying 20%. We're building faith, and faith is priceless. And so, the most beautiful lie in financial history begins to breathe. Terra Luna doesn't just grow, it explodes across the digital landscape like wildfire. First, the crypto enthusiasts, then the venture capitalists, then everyone. In Seoul's coffee shops, elderly women discuss Luna prices between sips of green tea. University students skip classes to trade Luna tokens. Taxi drivers quit their jobs because why drive a taxi when you can make 20% guaranteed returns? The numbers are staggering. $10 billion, $20 billion, $50 billion. Terra Luna becomes the fourth largest cryptocurrency in the world. And Do Kwon. He becomes crypto royalty. Magazine covers, conference keynotes, 280,000 Twitter followers hanging on his every word. But it's not just the money that intoxicates people. It's Do Kwon himself, confident to the point of arrogance, brilliant to the point of seeming supernatural. When Ethereum's creator questions Terra's sustainability, Kwon responds with three simple words: I don't debate the poor. The world falls in love with this digital prophet, this man who has seemingly solved the impossible puzzle of risk-free wealth. In South Korea, Luna fever becomes a national obsession. Mothers invest their children's college funds. Fathers mortgage their homes. Entire families bet their futures on Do Kwon's promise. And why wouldn't they? Every day the numbers go up. Every day people get richer. Every day Do Kwon's prophecy seems more divine. By the end of 2021, Terra Luna is worth $80 billion. Do Kwon personally owns $4 billion of that. He's not just rich, he's become a god in the digital realm. But gods can fall. Tone becomes grandiose, then subtly menacing. Early 2022, Do Kwon stands at the absolute peak of his power. In his Seoul penthouse, he hosts dinners for the crypto elite. Billionaires hang on his every word. Governments seek his advice. He's not just running a cryptocurrency, he's orchestrating a financial revolution. His Twitter account becomes a weapon of influence. Every tweet moves markets. Every statement creates or destroys fortunes. He announces plans to buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. The crypto world goes insane with excitement, but there's something else happening in those tweets. Something darker. Kwon begins to mock his critics with increasing viciousness. He creates a non-profit foundation, not to help people, but to spread Terra Luna adoption like a virus across the globe. In interviews, he speaks about Terra Luna like it's his child, his perfect creation. But when asked about the people who've invested their life savings, there's something cold in his eyes, something calculating. People need to understand, he says in one interview, that 20% returns aren't just possible, they're inevitable. We've solved finance. But behind the scenes, something else is happening. Anonymous blockchain investigators begin noticing unusual activity. Large wallets connected to Terraform Labs are quietly converting Luna to Bitcoin. Massive amounts, systematically, regularly. When confronted about these transactions, Kwon's response is swift and brutal. I don't owe explanations to the poor. What nobody realizes is that Do Kwon isn't just at the summit of his empire. He's preparing to burn it all down. March 2022. The first whispers of doubt begin, not from regulators, not from competitors, but from the numbers themselves. Traditional finance experts start asking uncomfortable questions. How can Anchor Protocol sustain 20% returns indefinitely? Where is all this yield actually coming from? The math is simple and it's terrifying. Anchor is paying out far more than it's earning. Every day, the deficit grows larger. It's not a savings platform, it's a Ponzi scheme wrapped in elegant code. But when journalists attempt to investigate, they hit a wall of corporate silence. When investors raise concerns, they're dismissed as not understanding the technology. Then comes the regulatory pressure. The SEC begins investigating Terraform Labs for potentially offering unregistered securities. South Korean prosecutors open their own investigation. Do Kwon's response? Absolute defiance. Regulation, he tweets, is just legitimacy by another name. Terra Luna will emerge stronger. But in private, leaked documents later reveal Kwon is having very different conversations. With his inner circle, he discusses exit strategies, contingency plans, ways to protect his personal wealth when, not if, the system collapses. Because Do Kwon knows something his millions of investors don't. 20% returns aren't sustainable. They never were. Terra Luna isn't a revolutionary technology, it's a time bomb. And the countdown has already begun. May 7th, 2022, 2:17 p.m. Singapore time. In a single moment, everything changes. A massive sell order hits the Terra ecosystem, $285 million worth of Terra tokens, dumped in one coordinated attack. This isn't random market volatility. This is surgical, calculated, devastating. The algorithmic mechanism that's supposed to maintain Terra's stability begins to crack under pressure. As Terra's price falls below $1, more Luna tokens are created to restore balance. But this floods the market with Luna, causing its price to crash. And as Luna crashes, confidence in Terra collapses entirely. May 8th, Luna falls from $80 to $40. May 9th, $40 to $10. May 10th, $10 to pennies, voice becoming emotional. In Seoul, Park Min-jung watches her $180,000 inheritance, her grandmother's entire life savings, disappear in real time. She sits in her apartment, refreshing her phone screen, watching the numbers get smaller and smaller until there's nothing left. In London, cryptocurrency investor James Chen realizes his Mayfair apartment is gone. His cars, his lifestyle, everything, built on Luna tokens that are now worth less than the electricity used to mine them. But the real horror isn't in the numbers, it's in the human cost. Across South Korea, suicide prevention hotlines are overwhelmed with calls. Social media floods with heartbreaking confessions. Families destroyed, dreams shattered, lives ended. And where is Do Kwon during this 72-hour apocalypse? Silent, absent. While millions of people lose everything they own, the man who promised them paradise has vanished into thin air. May 12th, 2022. The smoke clears from the battlefield. Terra Luna, once the fourth largest cryptocurrency in the world, is effectively worthless. $60 billion has simply ceased to exist. Not transferred, not hidden, annihilated, but the contagion is just beginning. Three Arrows Capital, a $20 billion hedge fund heavily invested in Luna, collapses within weeks. Celsius Network, a crypto lending platform, freezes all withdrawals and files for bankruptcy. The entire cryptocurrency ecosystem, worth over $2 trillion just months before, begins to crumble. The total damage, conservative estimates suggest over $200 billion in losses. As investigators sift through the wreckage, a darker picture emerges. Leaked internal communications show that Terraform Labs executives knew about problems with the Terra ecosystem for months before the collapse. They discussed concerns about sustainability. They worried about regulatory scrutiny. And in one particularly chilling message, Do Kwon jokes to his development team, "I hope it lasts until I can exit my position." Exit his position. While millions of ordinary people poured their life savings into his promise, Do Kwon was planning his escape route. But perhaps most disturbing of all, the investigation reveals that Terra Luna wasn't Do Kwon's first fraud. Blockchain forensics uncover a trail of failed projects, fake partnerships, and questionable financial practices dating back to 2016. Terra Luna wasn't a revolutionary technology that accidentally failed. It was the finale of a decade-long criminal enterprise, designed from the very beginning to steal. As Terra Luna burns, Do Kwon becomes a ghost. His Twitter account falls silent. His company stops responding to media requests. Terraform Labs' Seoul offices are raided by police, but Kwon has vanished. Interpol issues a red notice. The FBI offers a $10 million bounty. Cryptocurrency bounty hunters track leads across 4 continents. But Do Kwon seems untouchable, occasionally posting cryptic messages from untraceable accounts, taunting the millions of people he destroyed. For 324 days, he remains the most wanted man in the cryptocurrency world. Then, March 23, 2023, Podgorica Airport, Montenegro. 2 men with fake passports attempt to board a private jet to Dubai. When airport security runs their documents through the system, alarms begin screaming. The men are arrested immediately. One of them is carrying $100,000 in cash. The other has Bitcoin wallets worth $40 million on encrypted devices. When police search their luggage, they discover something that changes everything. Documents proving the Terra Luna collapse was planned 18 months in advance. Flight itineraries showing systematic trips to cryptocurrency exchanges. Bank records revealing the systematic extraction of investor funds. Do Kwon, the man who promised to revolutionize money, is finally in custody. But the damage he's caused, that can never be undone. Today, Do Kwon sits in a concrete cell in Montenegro, fighting extradition to 3 different countries. South Korea wants him for fraud and market manipulation. The United States has charged him with securities violations that could result in decades in prison. But here's what haunts investigators. They've only recovered $2.3 billion out of the $60 billion that vanished. The rest? Gone forever. Hidden in a digital maze that may never be unraveled. So what is the real lesson of Terra Luna? It's not about cryptocurrency. It's not about technology. It's not even about regulation. It's about something much more fundamental. The oldest scam in human history never disappears. It just gets better costumes. Do Kwon didn't invent a new way to make money. He invented a new way to steal it, using blockchain technology as the perfect disguise for an ancient confidence game. Every generation faces the same choice: learn from the past or repeat its mistakes. Do Kwon counted on human nature, our eternal hope that easy money exists, our willingness to believe in financial fairy tales, our desire to get rich without understanding the risks. And perhaps most tragically of all, 6 months after Terra Luna's collapse, Terra Luna 2.0 launched with many of the same team members, promising to learn from past mistakes. Thousands of people invested again, because apparently the most powerful force in finance isn't greed or fear, it's hope. The hope that this time will be different. The hope that someone, somewhere, has figured out how to beat the fundamental laws of economics. But in that Montenegro prison cell, Do Kwon knows something the rest of us haven't fully grasped yet. His story isn't over. It's not even finished. Because right now, somewhere in the world, another brilliant mind is crafting another beautiful lie, promising another impossible return, targeting another generation of hopeful investors. The technology changes, the names change, the promises evolve, but human nature remains exactly the same.